Hi, old beaver! Away!
Hello everybody, welcome once again to the most delectable, extraordinary, remarkable experience in the world of Team Fortress 2. It's BBall! As it's known to its friends, my name is Agro, and I am joined today by Damon? Damon. I wanted to establish that before we got going. Damon, can you give us your credentials? What makes you worthy to judge these humans?
I've been doing BBall.tf for a little bit now. We're in a bit of a hiatus, but we have run a few League and a few tournaments, so we've been around the scene for quite a while, but it's been in and out. So, but luckily Bud's been able to pick it up on the European side, and I've been really excited for that and to see where he goes with that. So, really happy with him.
Well, hey, look, we've got a couple of teams lined up and ready and raring to go. Do you want to talk us through the blue team?
Yeah, Barney and TK, they used to play a lot. I believe they won the first cup, if I'm not mistaken. So they would probably be the favorites in this. Floof and Lardox, I am not aware of myself. So they kind of seem as though the underdog, but I could have that wrong. I know Barney and TK have been around for quite a while, so I would put them as the favorites of this one. If I was to make a guess,
it would be remiss of us not to mention team names, because obviously team names are incredibly important on this one. TK and Barney go by the name Soapymeister's Soap Eaters. And Floof, as he's seen on screen at the moment, otherwise known as Auto, and Lardox go by the name Chuggers. I'm assuming that's to do with chugging alcohol, which I'm currently doing. So that seems to be awfully appropriate. I'm for that reason alone, I'm going to be rooting for Chuggers.
Well, in that case, I will have to take Soapymeister. I was trying to stick away from the names as much as possible, as they've picked some lovely names for this. But
well, it's their right to do so. I mean, why not?
I didn't know Otto was Floof.
Well, we maybe lost track of reality. Let's refer to them as they're called on the screen at the moment, unless they come up with some really awful names, and hopefully they won't do so. BBall is the game. It's a 2v2. Everyone's gone soldier, which apparently is the de facto way of playing this. Do you want to talk us through some of the more extraordinary rules while we get ready to go live?
Sure. I mean, the basics of it are pretty simple. You take the intel onto the other team's hoop. Each soldier does not have gunboats, anything like that. They have a shotgun, all default setup. And they try to defend the other team from getting it in their hoop. So it's just a kind of game of possession a little bit. You have a lot of air shots come into play, which is always fun. Some shotgun plays, to finish off some players. It kind of depends on the play style of each of the players. So,
and it's the best of 4 million?
It is the best of 350 million, in fact. Now,
I'll be here sometime, please. I hope that you bought some toilet paper and coffee.
Yeah, that's right. We better sit in for a long one, because we got it coming.
I'm not sure there's enough beer in the world for that, to be honest. And what happens when... Are you allowed to sort of body block the capture?
It's frowned upon. It's a thin line, Usually you're not able to. I mean, you can't stand on the hoop, as you see.
I mean, you can see people standing on the hoop, but you're not allowed to.
That's correct. You're not allowed to. If you body block them outside of that, then that's...
And presumably you're not allowed to use any other classes. It's all soldier v soldier. You're not allowed to go in with pyro and do some kinky stuff with rocket reflex.
No. What I have seen before is soldiers going with a rocket jumper and a quick fix med. So the soldiers actually can't pick up the intel, and they have to blast the quick fix medic into the goal. That's kind of an interesting style.
That seems like an extra level of difficulty.
Yeah.
Just for showing off when it's really, really hard. Are they ready to go now? I see people are lining up. Right. Oh, it was always a false start for a moment then. So the case starts in the middle, and everybody rushes towards, trying to pick it up, and then we do the things.
We're getting underway.
Okay, is it started off? We're actually doing the firing and the shooting.
That is. We are.
Woohoo!
Otto gets the first cap there. That's a good one.
Nice, clean capture.
And see, he suicided there just to keep intel. He knew where his spawn point was. Suicided, so he pick up back with about 200 health. So great move on their side to keep possession and eventually go for the score. Was shut down, but
That's a bit of a dodgy move there. I see running along the side of the fence. Is that allowed?
it's more of a fake out play. Most people just jump off the fence, but if you kind of act as though you're gonna jump and just keep walking, sometimes you'll do sometimes you'll get some pre-fire rockets out.
Just seems more like a sort of a BM type thing. It's like attacking someone with your shovel. It's just not done. It's not British.
Attacking with a shovel is it's kosher. You can do it. Definitely acceptable.
Can you do the half Zatoichi? I think that'd be halfway awesome.
Oh no.
You couldn't put it back again, so that'd be pointless.
I thought about that too whenever I was creating the configs to this, and I was like, you know what, that would be interesting. And then I was like, wait, no, you couldn't do anything after that. Yeah, it's like, well, great, you've got the weapon out, now what? You are pretty useless. As you see, there's, a lot of rocket jumping and stuff around. So, being in one spot, being stationary is not very helpful. Ooh.
It's a lovely little exchange there. It is quite. It seems to be the sort of game where you get right to the very edge of scoring, and then you have it stolen away from you. I've seen the case dropped a few times after the goal, behind the goal, sort of what would otherwise be sort of out of bounds in a normal basketball match. Is there an out of bounds, or is the entire ground bounds?
The entire ground is bounds. You can drop it actually up on the top of those. Lack of a better word, backboards on top of the fence. So that's a thing that you can do in order to, kind of keep possession of the ball. I call it a ball case, anything, just kind of tab it there.
I'm surprised at this stage nobody's modded this game in order to make the case into a ball and have the ball have its own physics. I'm a little bit disappointed. It's not like this is a brand new game or anything. It has existed for quite some time. What was that? So I just saw then, I think it was Floof, appeared to get a goal, except that when he went through the intel sort of dropped on the ground. How do you know when you've scored a goal? It's fireworks light off or something?
So there's a capture area that's just right above the hoop. If you look at the hoop itself, the basketball, the traditional, backboard of it would not count. You have to be in a pretty small area in order for that to happen. So it is pretty precise, with your jumps, straightening around people. So we're doing a good job of keeping possession right now. I'm pretty happy with that. Chuggers are looking good. Oh, and the double jump comes in, but is denied.
I'll be honest with you, I mean, it's not a very high-scoring game. I was expecting it to be sort of every time you get the ball or every time you get the case, you can fly into the enemy's basket and that's it, job done. But there's a great deal of back and forward. What's the tactics? How do you manage to survive all the jumps? How does the teamwork work on this?
Well, the teamwork, usually there's going to be somebody doing the fragging, and that could change at any time. So basically, you'll have to keep an eye on your teammates' health, see how much that they have, and basically decide who's going to be taking the ball after that. So that could change mid-fight, that could change, anytime you'll see most people have a bind to drop intel, which is drop item.
Right.
That's what that's what TK rather just did to Barney. Drop right there. Just left him right down into it. And left his teammate with the ball. So you can drop it, and you can also kill bind, both of which will drop the intel for you and onto a teammate if they're under you.
Is there any use of black box here? I mean, I thought that'd be a perfect weapon to just keep you alive a little bit. Maybe
It would be interesting, but the value of 4 rockets, I think, outweighs the health regeneration that you get, especially after they nerfed it back the last time I played, like in 2014. So, but it could be arguably useful. So,
what? That was the first time I think we've seen Chuggers get the goal for quite some time. It's been all in Soapy's side. They've been extraordinarily aggressive here, and it looks like aggression is the key to this. Really sort of getting up and in their face, not giving the opposition an opportunity to make anything with their time on the ball.
Yeah, and you see they're just trying to keep possession of it. If Red comes over there, they can have minimum of about 120 health with the rockets that they're shooting. So if you get one shot on them, they can't jump towards the hoop. So that's kind of how they're, trying to defend against that. Hold the ball on their side of the hoop.
Saw that just then with Chuggers, with the ball not quite going in, and then trying to finish it up and not quite lining it up perfectly enough to get it all the way into the hoop. Really frustrating at that point.
That's right. That's also a strategy to drop it on the hoop. Wow, good cap in there from Floof. Surprised that wasn't countered there. But with the higher levels of B-ball, you'll notice a lot more of the strategic plays than you do just YOLOing at the hoop, if you will. Waiting for an advantage, a player to be low, one player to be alive, that kind of thing, in order to jump. So that wasn't done that time. As you see, both players were alive, and it was denied. So it's just kind of all just reading very quickly the situation.
I'm surprised at how fast the whole system can turn around, where you can seem to be in a really strategically wonderful position, and then with a flick of a rocket, you're down. The ball is in your side, and your team's unable to do anything with it.
Yeah, that's right. One rocket can ruin everything. So even pre-fire rockets just from the other side, if those hit you right, 2 of those won't let you do the double jump to get across to the other side, so you're basically just holding intel and waiting.
Floof was utterly destroyed then, a real opportunity for him to go in and get the goal. He's going for it again, and I think he gets it this time.
It's not, no.
Wow. I think Soapy was having none of it, though. I think the one thing we have seen is now that Soapy have got this dramatic lead, I mean, they're 4 points up. Well, they were 4 points up. I'm not sure they're still the same. But they don't seem to be attacking that much more. They're not really going for the goal that much more. They're content to just destroy and keep on destroying Chuggers.
Yeah, they have time on their side, so they have the time and the skill to take it slow, that they can change the pace if they want.
Oh, this is an opportunity.
Oof. Oh, what an air shot coming in. Ooh, DK couldn't get one of those down. Left it a little bit too closed up for Barney to go in there.
The conversation really is taking place on the Chuggers side of the court at the moment. There's an exchange seemingly going on every other second, but with the exception of, as I say this, with the exception of just then, like it was all about the Chuggers half and the push, the continuous push that's happening by Soapy Soapymeisters, Soap Eaters. It is such a dramatic shift. Like you can't underestimate the power of a superior force.
Oh wow. Oh gosh, that was amazing. So Barney dropped it down. He was way too high for the intel, and TK just was on the rim. Remember how I was saying earlier, if you drop it to a teammate that's directly under you? Teammate. Well, if TK was on the rim, Barney dropped it directly to him, and that was an immediate score.
Perfect.
So, I mean, things like that are a little bit, they're harder to pick out. Especially, like first-person POVs. That's why, this gets a lot of slack unless people are actually playing and understanding the game. So there's a lot that goes into it, but in its simplicity, it is quite simple. I mean, all to the other hoop. So
I think that's the first time in this entire round I've seen a shotgun come out.
That's a good thing.
I mean, it's not just high scoring. Sorry, is it high scoring? I'm talking about this as if I know the answer. Is it high scoring? What would you expect to see, with a domineering team?
No, this one does seem a little bit as though, the Soap is just trying to, take control of the ball. As you see, right now nobody even has it picked up. They're just defending it, staying in their spot. They've been doing that a lot this game. So, I mean, yes, that's the best tactical move, and that makes, Chuggers have to go at him a little bit harder, but they haven't been too successful getting in there.
I think the tactic you were talking before about sticking the flag or sticking the suitcase right over in the enemy's court, right on top of the board there on the baseboard. Mm-hmm. That's it leaves it in such a hearty position. And right now we see it sort of behind the flag, behind the goal.
That's true, but behind it is great. For the attackers, it's really hard to get out and get a score out of that. But for the defenders, it's fantastic. Easy shot with the backboard to go off it for a jump, maybe even a skip to the hoop. Tons of possibility.
I think they're content to leave. I think this is definitely a tactic. The TK and Barney are content to leave it with a 4-goal lead. Every time that they give up a point, then they'll go aggressive. Then they'll try and even it off. And they're not really pushing themselves, not really pushing the scoreboard, or trying to take trying to get the highest score that's ever going to happen in this competition. It is very tactical. They pushed hard at the beginning, and now this is them relaxing. This is them almost taking the mick out of Chuggers.
Ooh, good. Beat by Floof in there in order to grab the cap in there. That was ball left on the back of the hoop, and that is free game for anybody. Ooh, TK with a miss jump. That's gonna hurt him. Only up 4, and that is not what you want. And while I say that, they score one more. He may be regretting that even further.
Yep. But this could be the change. Oh, no, it's not. It's absolutely not a changer.
They come in here and there, It's kind of, you never really know. When it's basically just depends on somebody missing a rocket or somebody missing a shotgun at this. Make a mistake and you can capitalize on it.
It was a weird exchange, that last one. I think I saw that. I think I saw Lardox.
Yes.
Ignore the flag completely and just go in for the kill.
Yeah, he was doing a little bit of the standing on the hoop there.
So we're coming up for 5 minutes left in this round.
That's right. And it is only a 2-point game. We are looking a little bit closer. As I say that, it is still a 2-point game. I'm about to correct myself, and I don't even have to. I can just kind of go along with it as I say it. Fantastic.
So what's the respawn rate? It's not insta spawn, is it? It says a second, 2 seconds.
Yes. So there's no freeze camp, as you see, in normal TF2, where you'll get a screen cap of the person who killed you. It'll go immediately into the respawn, so you won't get to see what the other team's doing, anything like that. And it does have a 2-second respawn.
Oh, left it wide open there. Fully take advantage of.
Less than 5 minutes left. That may be the nail in the coffin.
We haven't seen Chuggers really get they've scraped it back. They've managed to get 1, managed to get 2, managed to get 3, and really be an opportunist action maker. But not enough to really ever damage Soapy's opportunities or chances.
No. I mean, they've had some good plays here and there, but it seems like the strategy of Barney and TK, when they got off to that early lead, they were able to hold on to that, by being a little bit more defensive, a little bit more selective about which hoops to go for, which ones not to. That kind of gave them the advantage early on. So right now they can play as passively as they want. They can keep handing themselves the intel. All they're doing is just wasting, the Chuggers rockets. So
yeah, there's the 3-point lead, and it's almost as if every single time that there's an opening, it really gets jumped on. Either TK or Barney really sort of knows that now is the opportunity to just knock it one more ahead.
Ooh, what an air shot by Barney to deny that.
And you were saying earlier that the whole dynamic of this is air shot after air shot, but that's not necessarily true. I think this has been very much a land game up to this point. So those air shots, when they pull them off, are even more dramatic.
Well, the thing is if you can time one of those jumps with a land shot, it'll throw somebody else's jump off. So if they're trying to go, say a little bit to the right, and they're trying to hit a really precise jump, and you shoot a rocket at the floor, even if it does just a little bit of splash damage, It'll do enough push damage in order for them not to cap it. So that's just going to leave an awkward situation for the person trying to cap. Getting a little bit short on that, and how to do anything with it.
I was going to say that was a perfect example of that entire action right there, if it weren't for the fact that he was able to turn it around at the last minute and get an actual cap off it. Yep.
Yeah, and it's just, ooh, what a strafe by TK.
Absolutely. I mean, the strafing is phenomenal by TK. It has been the entirety of this game. They've really shown dominance on the land and in the air. If there was only a bit of sea as well, it could have all 3.
If you look out to the right side, out of bounds there, it could be classified as C. It is a little bit on the blue side, but I'm sure they'd conquer it if it was allowed.
By the same measure, my toilet in the next room could also be classified as C, so probably best not to go there. Oof! Oof! In the air! Love it. Well, only a minute and 16, I'm going to say, to go. The score is fairly heavily in the favour of TK and Barney. Don't think there's going to be any possibility. There's no way that anyone can get 6 points in a minute, is there?
No, I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, it only takes a maximum of 2 seconds to cap. You get a couple skips in there and you can do a dunk from the other side. I'm sure I'm using a lot of terminology that people may not be familiar with, but dunking is capping from underneath the hoop. If you can hit that side box and do a strafe while you're hitting the hoop, it'll actually count as a score.
Oh.
So you can cap from underneath it-ish that way, but you do have to have a rocket, of course.
I mean, it's a bit of a letdown. You can't do the whole 3-pointer by taking off from outside of the ring. Again, so many opportunities to turn this game around, introduce new rules. but none of them have been taken up, and I don't think there's any opportunity time left in this map to introduce any new rules. A very clear and concise win by Barney and TK there. Soapymeisters, Soap Eaters, very much destroying the morale and the very fibre of Larlox on Floof. That was a clear and decisive win.
I mean, all in all together, I think that was a very good, clean game. It just turns out that Soapy played a little bit better.
So, I mean, the map that we've seen, is this a default standard map? Are there other maps? Are there sort of crazy golf versions of this map? Different loos in the environments?
Yeah, since I've been around for a while, it actually started a little bit of a collection of a few of those random ones that people have come out with and just are not widely used. I'd say about 20 or so BBall maps. This one is the most widely used. BBall TF2 is probably the second one. It's basically a reskin of this, just with different skybox. So, I
want to ask. I've got to ask. If I don't, then who the hell will? Has there been any maps so far with chainsaws and or lasers?
There is. Well, Exile. He did create a map called Broccoli that was called BBall Broccoli. It does have trains.
Well, that's good enough for me.
It does have ways to kill yourself. It's a very interesting event. Oh, it looks like we do have this first one on the way already. Soap comes out with the first score there.
So starting again from scratch, and Soapymeister, the first one to get a goal in place. I'm so keen. I want to fight for the underdog now. I was supporting them before Chuggers. I want to see them level it out. I don't want to go to 4-0 again. I want to see this be a much closer match than the last one was. Although already the scores are slightly in the favour of TK and Barney.
Yeah, no, it does look like they're going to try to take a commanding lead again, and then hold on to it just kind of like they did in the last one. It does look like...
that was an absolutely huge jump that didn't quite pay off in the end. It's all about... It's finishing the jump. There's no point getting a big air and then not being able to land it.
Well, there can be if you can strafe into the right areas, you know? I mean, it's more of a game of position of the intel, rather than... gosh, it's confusing. If you contain possession of the intel, then you have a strong advantage of the game.
Well, you can't score if you're not holding the ball, that's got to be said. But
well,
is your corpse allowed to score if the intel drops down onto the hoop, but you're not currently occupying it at the time with anything living? Does it count?
No, it does not. Your teammate would have to cap it, and that would leave it on the hoop, though. People could grab it with a crouch jump underneath, but they can't score with it that way.
So what's happening here? Why is it that the TK and Barney are able to do what they've currently and consistently been doing throughout in this, which is maintain a lead?
Well, I mean, as we just even it up there, they have been able to, outmatch them on DM, which is a little bit of quite a bit of an advantage as far as keeping the possession and leading to that.
I just want to stop you there. I think this is the first time in the entirety that we've ever seen Chuggers take any kind of a lead at all. That they are now currently the leaders. It's unbelievable work. It's amazing stuff by Floof. Whether or not he's able to finish it, not quite to do so. Such a shame, such an opportunity. And there it is. That's leveled it off. But Floof, come on, Floof, we believe in you. Go for that net.
Barney's double to even that up was quite impressive as well. Thinking those rockets can be pretty helpful.
Just seen a couple of rockets by Barney, and he nails every single one of these rockets. The predictability on this guy is insane.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the same things, you know your teammates. I mean, all of these players are people who play, you know, pretty consistently, so they're used to them by now. BBall community is pretty small, though wanting to grow, but you do see a lot of the same people and learn their styles and techniques of jumping, which way they're gonna go, that kind of thing. Pretty hard to be unpredictable.
Gonna say, is this anything like the kind of the jump community, and is there any kind of crossover?
There hasn't really been too much of a crossover between the two. I do know that a few of the tournaments that I ran, there were some of the jumpers, well-known jumpers, that did enter it. Exile, who's a known jumper, he's very involved with the BBall scene. Made several maps. He's been great with all of that as well. So there is a little bit, not as much as you'd assume with the amount of jumping that you're seeing. You would think that they'd, you know, join forces and.
I guess the ability to jump and throw massive rockets at your feet and survive is one that would be incredibly beneficial to either one of these teams, but certainly not built into the game style itself. The game wants you to die as soon as you do anything as rambunctious as throw a rocket at your feet.
That's true. That's why being so careful and trying to avoid and being unpredictable is so important. Holding on to possession and all of that. That's a great move by TK not to jump forward without his teammate. Barney goes to it. Dunk underneath.
Yep, I was gonna say Tuck, but you beat me to it. I was just gonna be such a wonderful moment for me recognizing an actual move.
I had been so proud of you. You're learning so much. Oh gosh. I loved with the intel.
It seems like the intel has almost completely been forgotten in that exchange there.
It does seem to drop sometimes, and usually the medic button is what people use to let your teammate know that, hey, I've dropped the intel. You know, that's not always... Even gets that cap with the air shots in there. Floof with a nice skip. Comes in there.
I think I'm going to be following Floof for a little bit, so I almost grew tired of watching the position of Barney.
You know, the best way to look at these is just in the third person from the outside view. If you're looking at somebody's FOV, even I get confused. You know, it's just can't really tell. The third person view is really, you know, just kind of how to get an overall perspective on what is actually happening from like a team standpoint.
I've taken your advice now. I'm flying around the screen at the moment to see if I can tell what on earth is going on. But it is a little bit like a fireworks event with rockets being flirted off into the distance. And the occasional exchange of humans. TK mucking around on the top there. Wasting time, I guess. I mean, they got their 5-point score advantage. The ball being left on top. Oh my god, it's in the corner now. What is going on? Please, gents, make the score. That's appalling. So many opportunities wasted there.
Had he have not gone off the backboard there, he would have had a perfect opportunity to just glide into the hoop. Turns out some showboating gets the best of him. Ooh.
Look, we've still got 12 minutes. There's definitely enough time for things to change quite dramatically. It just requires a bit of teamwork, a bit of precision, and, well, I don't know that either Floof or Lardox has it in them, but I want to be wrong. Chuggers, come on, guys.
Even closer. Oh, Barney's got a free gap there. But he's looking in the wrong direction. Oh.
Well, finally.
Last off.
I was wondering if he'd forgotten what the game was.
With 34 health, Floof makes that jump. The minimum amount that you need to jump is 28. That is extremely precise, that jump that he just did to get in there. I was kind of checking to see how much health he had after that. That's good.
Presumably, if you're down, if you're less than, 28 health, you've got two choices. One is to try and use your rockets to get in the way of the enemy team, or else, alternatively, I imagine, to kill yourself, really.
Well, bringing the intel back is also important, because if you think about it, the enemy will have to kill you, which means that's one wasted rocket on you, as opposed to killing yourself. The advantages of killing yourself, though, is you can be able to get back there early, so, I mean, situationally, you just never know.
So that was one of those situations where TK was not in a position to do anything with the health that he had left. But he left the intel in a situation. He held on to it just long enough for his teammate to spawn before giving it away completely.
Yeah, and you'll see Barney here trying to give it away to TK.
I mean, talking about sort of having 28 left, and that's a fairly concise, precise measure. How many jumps does that give you?
Can me do math all the way this early in the morning?
I'm demanding math of you this early in the morning.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we're clear on that. That would be that would be 7, Bob.
That's number one.
I believe so. Is that right? Wait, 28 times 7? That's what? Seems right. Need some Jeopardy theme music, please?
Presumably, though, I mean, you do less damage to yourself if you jump off a horizontal surface. So if you're already in motion, then you're not going to need as much effort to keep moving.
Yeah, jumping off the wall, I actually don't know the on that. I think it could be almost classified as horizontal, but you have to put the rocket in the right place. Most of the time putting those to the point where you would take no damage or take the minimum damage, it's not going to propel you enough.
That's a weird exchange here. I've just seen that ball remain absolutely in that corner for the longest time. Nobody seems to be particularly willing to actually move it forward. And I guess that's down to, again, this massive advantage that TK and Barney are having. They don't want to move from their point because it takes so much effort to get to it, and it's so much easier to defend when it's already on your side.
Yeah, partially that, and they were waiting for spawns to switch to the other side. Whenever they switch to the other side, they'll grab spawn straight with the intel, and as you see right after that, Barney did a double jump to cap really quick.
Well, that was... I mean, you say a double jump like it's the most normal thing in the world. To my mind, that was doing a jump once in the air for yourself and then jumping off someone else's rocket.
It can be. I think that you can strafe off of people's rockets, which is why, shotguns are so frowned upon, is that it doesn't actually create any momentum and it just declines or detracts from that. So, that's why using shotgun could be really good at denying a certain jump, but almost BM Not particularly, especially in 2v2, but, you know, it 1v1, you know, you're definitely gonna be rocket launcher only.
So I saw a little bit of a pause there, and I was wondering whether or not there was going to be some sort of tactical pause to, like the ball banning or something, and this was some strategic maneuver, but no, it's just a bit of server lag.
No, they're. Despite your comment, there is a lot more strategy on this than you would assume. So quite a bit, lots of different play styles, all of them effective. So got a lot of choices to make.
So go on then. What's because we're seeing the strats of Floof and Lardox not really landing here. I mean, they've definitely got some killer moves. They're definitely capable of, why I say that, getting points added to the scoreboard. What are they doing wrong? And what tactic, what strat should they be doing with 5 minutes left?
Well, they're doing it about right. The thing is they're leaving themselves open for caps like that, like Barney just took. You're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive. You see both team players are jumping towards the hoop at the same time to save time, rather than one trying to create some space for the other. But unfortunately, when both players are forward, either A, they're not able to, you know, shoot back and defend, or they'll have to suicide and wait for that 2 seconds in order to defend. So
well, there we go. That was 25-19 Soup versus Chuggers. That was fairly definitive and clearly quite a massive lead that was both taken and held by Barney and TK. Really see how they are. I don't know whether it's too soon to say the superior team, but if Floof and Larlox can do anything, is it done? Am I talking out of my arse?
Yeah.
I am talking out of my arse.
It is a best of 3, and those were the first 2, so that'll do it. That's going to be a game for Soap. So congratulations to them on winning the EBL finals.
Congratulations indeed. I don't think that there's any realistic opposition that was held. Certainly it made it, Barney and TK made it feel like it was their game. They turned up. It was their basketball. There was their home turf. And this random kids, Floof and Larks, had turned up with their flashy trainers and wants to have a go in their courts. And they were entertaining them and letting them get a point here and then, but then destroying them whenever they had a chance to really make a move. I think it was only in that second match that we even saw. Well, certainly it was worth celebrating at the time that they even saw the 2 players for Chuggers get a lead, even briefly. It was utterly and completely the game of TK and Barney.
Yeah. I mean, as we look at the stats there, you see that mainly there's going to be one person, you know, gathering the intel that's the jumper. It's going to be the backup. So I think it was Barney out there with 19 caps, and then TK had the rest of the 6. He's just kind of cleaning up. Whereas Floof, for Otto, I believe, he's a great jumper. So he's obviously going to be the one who's going for the caps and everything like that. Lardox wasn't been able to keep up as much as then, as well as the damage per.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a little bit in the favor of blue there.
Not a huge thing. I mean, if you look at the number of kills per team, I mean, there's only sort of 12 in it, so not a huge amount of difference. But as you say, being able to have like both players on the super team, they were level. They were playing together. They're playing as a team. One was going destructive, one was going cap, and then they're swapping and changing it over. You never really knew who to focus or who to shoot down. That was a very interesting and very constructive, almost textbook case of how to win in this game. And I'm perfectly and completely content to have been here to witness it for myself. I think I would not have known anything had you not been here. So thank you very much, Damon, for coming along and for instructing us in the art of B-ball.
And an art it is indeed. Thank you for helping me in the art of casting.
I'm not sure if I did any casting.
My forte.
Absolutely, I was just throwing my inexperience at the screen in a manner to which I hope that other people will find appealing. This was tremendous fun, and I do look forward to other opportunities such as this in the future, when maybe we can get a little bit away from Highlander, a little away from Sixes and Prolander and all the other things that we think of as being competitive, and recognise that there's more than one ways to skin a cat or to peel an orange, and B-ball is one of the more entertaining and luxurious ways of enjoying that orangely flavoured cat.
Exactly. Fun to play, and so really fun.
So I want to have a quick moment just to give credit to Wiethoofd, who's our producer, cameraman, the guy who's directing all of your views throughout the entirety of this match. Did a lot of stuff to tweak it, to make it such an appealing and an enjoyable experience for everyone. And of course, he is the better part of Critscast. A shout out to you, Damon, as well, for being an awesome person and just being so incredibly knowledgeable. And to everyone who decided to join us and watch with us, thank you very much for being here. Damon, got any shout outs for us?
Of course. Big shout out to Bud. He's been doing a really good job of getting B-ball on the map again, at least in the EU format. Really, really excited for that. I can't wait to see what he does with it in the future. So that's always going to be exciting. Hopefully bring some new players in there and be able to create a bit of a competitive community like you were talking about.
Absolutely.
No,
anyone else? Your mum?
Let's see. Yeah, Mom and Dad, if you're watching, appreciate you for all you done, all that stuff. No, like to thank you to the producers, of course. Actor.
Absolutely. Yep. And my agent, my manager, all of those beautiful people, and not only that, but all the people who decided to play in this tournament as well. Like there's no final without competitors, and there were no finer competitors than those that we saw today. A quick mention that in the very near future, as in a few days' time, we're going to be producing content of the Sixes format out in Moscow. So please do tune in for that. Follow and like and do all those other things. We will look forward to seeing you guys all there. But for the time being, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next opportunity. I almost went into an X-Time moment then. I'm not X-Time, I'm Agro. I'll see you in the back row. I don't have an answer.
But I do want to point out, for more information about B-ball or getting into it, anything like that, there's always the bball.tf Steam group, as well as Bud has one called EBL. So if you are interested in it, want to take a look, we're always doing different divisions so that, players aren't paired with people who have been playing for years.
Hi, old beaver! Away!